because they're taking forever. You know, we get shipments on a monthly basis. And
They're sitting on a boat somewhere.
getting through the port.
And you're live here. Let's give you.
Along with lots of other things.
Let you do.
Oh, I see what the problem is.
We'll wait till more people come in. When you park my car, then we'll give you. Let you do the intro.
Very good.
Just gotta get the Google Play Store. Hang on. Oh, much better. Where's the Google Play Store? Oh, these are my apps.
So,
They can still provide. 1210.
so should I talk to you? Should I talk to Robert?
Well, you're busy at the moment, so you want to talk to me?
I guess.
So, apartment.
Oh, this is getting exciting.
You know, the one that matches beautifully is the Hue and Black.
When you say Mac Beautiful, you mean Sonic.
Yeah. And if we didn't, because that's $16.99, that
How much is it?
that you could do
Which one did you
the Hue and Black.
That's Autocal.
Are you going to register this TV? Because
No,
you won't
not
get
yet.
that.
Yeah,
You
I
can't.
just wanted to just need to find the Google Play Store. So give me 1 second. Yeah, let's try this. Google Play Store.
On the 1210, what is the really best price? Like really best price? Not skipping.
If that doesn't have a button for mic, then the mic is in the.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Oh, it does have a mic button?
Google Play Store.
Opening Google Play Store.
So you're talking $16.99 plus $7.
A lot of stuff here, huh?
Sure is.
I understand. So what makes this cartridge?
Cowman.
Playing Cowman on YouTube.
No. Cowman. That's not gonna do it.
Playing Cowman on YouTube.
I am curious about that particular part. So check out the Robert.
It's just there. This way we can open up the other apps.
Mm-hmm.
65 inch. That's about a 85.
77.
77.
Comes in 77 and 88.
Yeah, that's going to be my next one. But this one.
So you got plenty of time.
Do you have the cartridges in stock?
I have some cartridges.
You have. My mind is really blank today.
You're enabling the extra calibration modes?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Moderna. Second one. So I'm good.
Going home for a day.
Did you get it? Right. So tell me which cartridges is in this right now that you're suggesting. Well, that's made for this. Sorry, so what was that part? Which cartridge?
Hue and black.
Say.
Hue and ordinary
Yeah.
black, plug and play. Mach 2.
I don't see pushing blue.
Well, in a minute I show you something you can compare it to.
Okay.
Let me just see what it looks like. It's great. This lighted remote's terrific.
Yeah, everybody's loving it.
I did it right.
So I want to buy this. I want to make this the captain.
Take your number and call you when it comes in, or I can take all your information.
Just gonna take a quick look at this before. Just want to see. It's dark in here. Right now. Doesn't look. Don't see any real tinting, you know?
No, it looks clean, right?
When you look straight on, it's fine, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very clean. So right now we got 100% full field white, and it's a very clean panel with no tinting is what we've noticed.
That's pretty new, right?
Yeah.
New.
Yeah, that's a new and good thing.
Let's see what this looks like.
Yeah.
Wow. Got a little vignetting on the side.
Yep. But pretty clean, right?
Yep.
Other than a little dark on the left especially.
Yeah, that's the vignetting. Yep, a little bit.
This TV has all of 10 minutes of runtime on it. We
If
just
we open
opened.
up the other one, we could see if it was the same, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a 5%?
That was 5%, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what 10% looks like. That's 10. We'll
That
go
look-
down lower later. I just want to get an idea.
yeah.
Go ahead, hold on a second. Go ahead, Robert, give your intro.
Hey, this is Robert Zohn at Value Electronics. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. And we're going to be taking our first look at Sony's new 2021, the Master Series A90J. This is a very highly sought after television for enthusiasts that want to have the very best in video performance. So there's a lot of interest in this TV. We've been shipping them for almost 2 weeks now, but we've just received our first allocation in our store. Today we got a dozen pieces in. And we're going to be we have just minutes ago set one up, and John, our calibrator, is setting up all his equipment and meters so that we can take some early preliminary results with our test patterns and test meters to see what the peak lumens is in different window sizes, and see the panel uniformity, and to test all sorts of elements of picture quality. So stay with us for a little while we get finished setting up, and we'll get into more technical details here as we finish our configuration.
Let's take a quick look at this.
Am I still on mic as well? So far we've looked at 100% full screen white, and we saw no tinting. So that's a very good sign, because all previous generations of OLEDs have had tinting. So we had a clean 100% white full field pattern with no tinting issues. We're now looking at video content that John, our calibrator, uses that he's very familiar with. So he knows what these scenes are supposed to look like, and he knows the colors and how the performance of all elements of picture quality looks on these. And after he does his calibration, he runs content that he's familiar with to make sure that the charts comply with the actual content picture quality. It's got some high peak lumens there, huh?
Look how bright that is on the right-hand side.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's all the way cranked up. Yeah, I want to see this.
Sure.
Check what else. This is SDR, so.
Oh, this is SDR, not HDR.
Just want to see what they have on is default, not much. Well, this is crazy bright.
Yeah, and that's SDR, and that's pretty high peak lumens. And we are in the custom mode. Is that the picture mode we're in? Right.
I mean, the brightness is at max, right? So it's probably about, it's pretty bright, but it's probably close to 300, it's going to be over 200 nits, but I'm just curious,
Yeah. Very pretty looking. And John, should we talk about some of the settings that you're working on?
This one right here, it's I guess when you do the clearness to 1, it puts the BFI on, right?
Right. Clearness is BFI, right? Okay.
You only see some flashing when it's all the way up, but down low it's not bad.
Right. Very good.
Okay, let's just leave it that way for now. Just curious. Let's take a look. One more thing, and then we'll. Because we haven't even turned this. This hasn't really even warmed up. Let's take
Right.
a quick look
Okay.
here at, let's take a look at HDR and see what HDR looks like.
Okay. Very good.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, we can find. Let's take a look at this.
So this is HDR10 content.
Yeah. I just want to see what the that's gradient preferred. That is freaking bright. And let's
Yeah.
go back. Let's go up. That's off. Gradient preferred.
And John, you're being familiar with this content. I hear you saying that's pretty bright. That means that you see this as brighter than what you would normally see in
I mean, it
OLED?
appears brighter, but it's hard to tell when it's not next to something. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see the difference between gradient and so this is gradient preferred, which should be accurate. This is off. It's a little dimmer. And that's brightness preferred, which should be brighter, but I don't really see any difference going on there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Let's take a look here.
And there seem to be more settings in the menu this year. Is that
It's
true?
pretty similar, except you have different tone mapping settings, right, which we'll go over in a second.
Okay.
And for out of the box, looks pretty good.
Yeah. It's very clean looking.
It's pushing blue a little bit, but it's not crazy. I have to see,
Okay.
This is the built-in demo?
Yeah. No, this is John's USB stick with his demo. The audio sounds good.
Yeah, not bad. See what Dolby Vision looks like.
Okay. Okay, so that was HDR10. Now we're going to try Dolby Vision HDR. And this is all John's personal reference video content that he uses, that he's familiar with.
That's Dolby Vision bright, and that's dark. It looks really good. I mean, I'm looking at it at an angle. It looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of tinting is the most important thing.
Yeah.
I don't really see any of the vignetting, but we'll have to look at something dark. But I think Dwayne said he had the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Said that thing as well. Just leave my cell phone out in case he tries to text me.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. I should have mine on.
I can't see where I am.
Right.
Okay, he's not. I can see it. If my phone's here, so if Dwayne tries to text us, we can see it.
Okay, very good.
All right. I mean, I can tell you one thing that was really evident without touching anything was this. Oops.
Hey, Robert, was there a price on the 83 yet?
No, March 22nd, we'll be announcing the price on the 83 inch on March 22nd. That's a Monday.
This looks really bright.
Yeah. And that's SDR.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the way up, right? So
Yeah.
it's it does everything at max, and I put the peak luminance to high just to see what it's capable of, but it is really bright. Nice and sharp.
Yeah. That's amazing that's SDR.
Right? Look how sharp it is around the rows.
Yeah. That's very pretty video.
Like really cool highlights.
Yeah. So are you feeling that you're seeing a better picture here than you normally would?
It's hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, I would say yes, because it looks a little sharp, a little more depth. It's hard to tell when it's not side by side, but just I see this so often that I know what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
See this here?
Yep. That's much
like
brighter.
Really bright.
Yeah, which is what it should be, though,
yeah,
right?
The sun's beating on it, right?
Yeah.
Are we gonna do a bit test?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we're gonna do is I have to profile my meter. I just wanted to. Okay. So everybody at home, you have to just bear with me a little bit because I have to profile my meter before we start taking any readings.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna Dwayne, Shane, just move this. Let's just move your camera over a little bit so I can do this.
And John, maybe you can explain what does it mean and why did we profile the meter?
Okay. So let me just open the workflow.
Should we mic him or you can hear him okay, right?
So what we're gonna do is when we try to take readings with the Klein or any other meter that we have, you know, colorimeter, it doesn't know the spectral response of the panel. So what you've got to do is get a spectral, and you have to use the spectral which can read the spectral response, and you need to then have what we call profiling, where the spectral reads the panel and then translates the data over to the colorimeter so that the colorimeter reads as close as possible to the spectral. The colorimeter is way faster, you know, and can read near black, where the spectral can't, and it's slow.
And is that the Jedi? Is
The
that
Jetty, yeah.
Jetty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to see what was going on here.
And that's so that you can more accurately read this panel.
Right.
Okay. So it's important to profile each and every panel, or once you do an A90, that's
No,
good for others?
I do every panel.
You do every single, because each panel is different.
You just never know.
Right.
That's the problem. You just never know. Okay, so now we're going to do this. I think we'll just do this.
Is that over?
Yeah, just a tiny bit more. So I can get in front of it, yeah. And I'm using, as close as possible, you want to get the field of view of the spectral the same as the colorimeter.
Mm-hmm.
So of course everybody on AVS knows that Ted has worked all those distances out.
Very
And
good.
that's what I use.
That's
Just like
great.
everybody else, so you got to make sure that the field of view is the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're all the way back here with the colorimeter. Okay. It's not on yet.
Okay.
I just want to level it out. You want to get it as
Mm-hmm.
dead on as possible. Okay, so now I gotta just turn this down because it's like way high.
One for each or one for both? And I buy that from you or from Sony? And then this one.
I don't know how the
Beyond what you saw.
let's do this. Okay, do label that medium down.
And it's okay for us to have ambient light in here while
No,
we're
no,
doing
no,
this?
I'm just doing this so I can see what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because, okay. Look at that, there it is. I think we're too far away, so I just need to get the, okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna get the, contraption here. Oh, that's right, you want to be 1500, right? Okay. There we go. 14.99.
You'll call me and
Close enough.
I mean, I would go through this.
I mean, so far the anti-glare on the screen kind of looks like the standard. I don't see anything different.
Uh-huh.
Blinding myself with the laser. Okay. Let's leave it like that.
What do you think so far, Robert?
Well, it looks good to me. I'm anxious to get some of these readings in here and see what.
Yeah, once I get this, then I'll be able to go faster. This is the slowest port.
Okay, very good.
Because I just need to. It's just a little cumbersome.
Okay.
But this is the most important part. You don't get this right, nothing else is right.
Okay, very good.
Does this have IMAX enhanced?
What's that?
Is this IMAX enhanced?
I believe
No, I
yes.
put it on custom. It doesn't. Right now, you just want it on custom.
But it does support
It
IMAX
does support
enhanced.
it, yeah.
Yes.
Is that light still on there, Robert?
Yes. The green light's on, and now it's blue. Green and blue flashing.
That's good news.
Okay. A lot of Sony pictures and Columbia pictures that you get free with this Bravia Core are IMAX enhanced content.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a format that's supported by Columbia and Sony Pictures.
When's the 83 getting released?
So how many nits you think that was?
That 10% window you had up there?
Yeah, how many nits you think?
I would say that was 900.
Nope.
How much?
121.
How come?
Well, I'm gonna have to keep it. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna profile it.
Oh, okay,
at
'cause-
150.
Okay, I
This
got
is
you.
like a very quick,
Okay,
just so
very
we can
good.
get the white point right.
The availability on the 83-inch A90J, we're going to be announcing that on May 17th, the availability and the price. And it'll be shipping very, very soon after that.
How about that?
Well, that's bright.
It's almost 200 nits.
Boy, it sure feels brighter.
Let's just see what the heck the total is.
Okay, here comes total nits.
No, this is SDR.
SDR, okay.
426.
Okay,
And
that's
now somebody's going to want to know, what is that full screen? Okay, let's see.
okay. This is SDR full screen,
Let's
100% for standard dynamic range. Boy, it sure feels bright.
see. 166, which is pretty close
166 nits.
to what Dwayne measured.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
What did he measure? Do you remember?
I think it was like 170 or something.
I see.
think. I don't know.
Okay. So we do need to break these panels in because they do open up a little bit more. And this is the process of profiling the
Yeah, I
the
just want to
meter.
get the
right. Once you get all these readings, you load it into the client so it knows the parameters of this panel.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now once I got the luminance set. So, boy, thank God for this lighted remote.
Okay. There's another good vote for the backlit remote.
Yeah.
The all metal backlit remote.
Okay, so now we're going to do the profiling. Let's go measure it first.
So it says OLEDs did not get the upgraded anti-reflection. That's only on the XZ9J and the X95J.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And now we're profiling. Now the Spectro's doing its readings.
All right.
Set to position that meter again. Touching the screen only because of the last static electricity. I don't want to blow up my equipment.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready for pizza back here? Or
Not yet. Let me just finish this one step. The reason why we're using contact mode here at the store is because sometimes the curtains open up, people want to pass by. I don't want any stray light coming in.
Okay,
But
good.
it doesn't make a difference because the sensors and the client are all the way back here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not anywhere near the screen, the panel itself. Looks good. So now what it does is we measure the colorimeter to the spectro to make sure it's correct, and it is. That's how we know we validated what we've done.
Okay.
Okay, and let me just open up.
And were you just reading color accuracy?
No, we're just profiling the meter.
Okay,
Just
very good.
Making sure that the meter is now
Right.
the same as the spectro.
Okay, very good.
We don't need to do the spectrum analysis because Dwayne did that already. We know it's good. It's different, so we can get moving on here.
Okay.
Gotta put the jetty away. And then we'll be good to go. Take a couple of readings, see what the thing looks like.
So the next thing we're going to read is peak lumens
Yep.
in HDR.
Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how it scans in SDR out of the box.
Okay.
But you know what, we'll do the HDR first because everybody wants to know, right?
Okay, very
so
true.
We'll do that first.
Okay, very good.
We'll take a look at that first.
And when you scan, you're scanning color.
Yeah, then we're gonna. Then once we do that, once we get the SDR going, then we'll go back to SDR and scan, the grayscale and the CMS.
Very
see what it
good.
looks like out of the box, and then we'll do a very quick calibration just to set the white point. Yeah, Kai, you can put it over there. So just be careful.
They're going to be in anyone's way?
No, but there should be okay.
Anything to announce, Robert?
Okay, very good. Well, we're here and we're about to have our pizza break.
Let's measure the peak lumens first.
Okay, but we're going to do peak lumens because that seems to be the most active question is peak lumens. And we're going to do peak lumens in different window sizes.
Yeah, let me just bring up the...
And we're going to do peak lumens not in the vivid mode. We're going to do it in the HDR custom mode. Is that correct?
Yeah. We'll do both.
Okay. Okay, so here is our peak lumens measurements in another moment.
All right, let's see what we got.
So that's a 10% window size,
Yep, hang on.
and that was 100% peak lumens in what mode?
I'm gonna look.
Oh,
I forgot
okay.
to see.
Alrighty.
Make sure everything's set properly. Just wait 1 second.
Yep.
.686, 707, 732, 745, 763, 767, 770. Okay. So it's about 775 nits with gradient preferred, which is pretty much what Dwayne measured.
Mm-hmm. 775.
Yep. 10% window. Let's just see.
10% window.
Let's just see if I go brightness preferred, which is the really bright.
Okay.
It's about the same. What do you want?
Feels brighter.
It's a little bright. I mean, you know what it's doing? I bet you. It's about 780. It's not that big a difference. Hang on. You know what? Hey, Dwayne, if you're listening to this, I'm going to comment. I'm going to give you some credit for all the things that, you know, Dwayne and I discussed a little bit on the phone about some of this stuff that he measured, because he has to have this set for a while. But I believe that this raises the midtones. I think the total brightness is the same for a given picture mode. And we're going to check that right now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Vivid just for the hell of it.
Okay. And what do you normally see for HDR in a 10% window on a CX or a Sony A8H?
On a Sony, it's usually like the high 5s, low 6s.
Right.
And on the
CX?
the CX is about usually between 650 and 7.
Okay.
Some a little higher, some a little lower.
Okay. And this is reading 780.
No, so now I'm reading almost 1,300 nits.
1,300 nits in Vivid.
Yep.
Which is what they measured in China.
Yep.
So 1,300 nits in the Vivid mode.
Yep. So let me just see something here. Let's see if we go. Oh, it's brightness preferred. That's right. So, okay. So this is what we knew. Now here's the thing that's interesting, right? It's like everything is turned up. It's not only in Vivid mode.
Right.
The brightness is all the way up. The contrast is all the way up. You got the brightness preferred tone mapping setting. That's all the way up. Everything's on high.
And it doesn't matter what the gamma setting is.
Well, let me see what it says. It's 0, which is fine.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to bring out is that, yeah, because it's HDR, so there's no gamma.
Right.
So,
right.
But the point is, what's interesting about it is everything is high, right?
Right.
So let me just.
When you go to the Vivid mode.
So this is what they got in China, right? That's where they.
Yeah, 1,300 nits. You read the same
One more
thing.
time. Yep.
13.
It's a little under 1,300, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I'll tell you is it starts dropping off quickly.
Right.
So let's see what happens in custom mode. Yeah, really, it's a little different than the other modes. It's about 780.
All right.
780, I'll say.
Okay.
You don't want to keep pounding the set. Okay, and that's custom. So let's try a 2% window.
Okay, very good.
That's 10% window. Let's try 2%.
And And again, we're in the HDR mode.
Yeah.
With a
That's
2%
the same.
window.
Now it's going, yeah, now it's almost, it'll go up to 800 nits, about 8 something. It's almost like 790, 2%. I could do 1%.
Okay.
And remember, you could like let this, you can let the whatchamacallit, the patch stay up and keep reading it, like for
Yeah.
a minute, and it's going to keep going higher. But I just don't want to, stress the panel out because it's brand new,
Okay.
So, but the point of the matter is that, after you let the patch up for like 15 seconds or 10 seconds, you're getting roughly what you're going to see and doing. Let's try 1%, see that again. Not too much different.
So
About
just
the same.
just under 800.
Yep. I'm curious, let's go 5%, 2% with vivid mode. Let's see if there's any difference. Curious. Remember, this is uncalibrated, right? When we knock it down to D65, it may be a little different. Let's see. Yeah, so now this is like 1370.
1370
Yeah,
in the vivid mode.
yeah.
1370 nits.
2% window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just take a look. So now that we've done that, so that was the big thing, right? Let me go back to SDR. I'm just curious to see, well, I can actually tell you right here. Hang on. I'm curious to see how much blue this is pushing. Oh, I'm in vivid mode, hang on. Can't do that. There's no way that number was crazy. Well, the good news is this. I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see this, Shane?
Mhm.
So the good news is that it's pushing blue like crazy, but not too bad. It's also deficient in green. So when we calibrate the white point, it's going to bring green up and bring blue down. So my guess is that it will be, it'll compensate. So it's not like we're bringing blue down and reducing the luminance like a lot. So it should. That's good. That's pretty good. All right. So let's go in SDR. A lot of times if it's pushing blue like crazy, and then what happens is you calibrate it to D65. When you reduce blue, you're going to really significantly reduce the light output. And then when that happens, it may not read 780 anymore. It'll read less. But in this particular case, when we reduce blue and bring green back up, I mean, it's not pushing blue that bad, right? So we're going to reduce it a little bit, and then green will bring up a little bit, which will compensate somewhat. Okay. Alright, so we can just label this custom. Just want to double check the settings. This should be around 150 nits. Okay. You can calibrate 100 nits, 120 nits. I tend to like 150, but that's entirely up to you. I'm just doing a quick SDR, see what it looks like.
Was this the place down the street?
You know, I gotta tell you, right out of the box, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it comes out of the box clean, huh?
Well, I wouldn't say super clean, but it's not crazy.
Right.
Which mode is this?
This is custom. I mean, you could see, I mean, this is pretty normal. I have it set on a high scale, a low scale, so you can see more of what's going on, but it's pretty typical. It's not crazy accurate, but it's a lot better than what I've seen normally. Let me just see what the CMS looks like. We just connect up to the TV. I'll just leave it like that.
And John, if we can post your pre and post
Yeah.
calibration settings, not settings, but
The,
charts.
Yep. That's what I'm writing. Still right now.
Good.
Just understand this. You know, the, okay. I mean, the interface is a little different than before. I just want to connect up to the TV only so that I can get the right grayscale patch set up. We'll see if it's correct. Should be. Because even if you don't use Autocal, by connecting up to the TV, you can use the DDC controls and then calibrate manually. And then you know for sure that you've got the right grayscale patch set up, which is different than just plain 10, 20, 30, whatever. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's supposed to see CalMan, and CalMan's supposed to know the patch set for that TV. And it's usually pretty good. Oh, this is interesting. Maybe see something else. I'm seeing a difference. Hang on. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, let's go to Custom Pro 1. I'm gonna set this at 10. That's about right. So the other thing with the Sonys is you gotta set the luminance with the remote. It's the on CalMan, or you can play with it on CalMan. It's just not 100% correct. I'll leave that high for now. Expert 1. Okay. Alright, perfect. So I like 149.
Here you go. Sure.
Okay, so let me just take a look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, right. What's this for?
It's a mic.
Where do I put it?
Anywhere.
Anywhere?
Something.
Okay. Okay, any better? Okay.
Should be good.
Let me just run a grayscale check. So you see, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see that, you know, it's 2.3%, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, when I run if I run Autocal, it will come up. Let's see what it's doing. Why is it doing that?
Is this a grayscale test?
Yeah, but it's not right, so hang on.
Okay.
Something not correct.
So these are the special modes that come up when
Oh,
you
yeah.
enable the calibration, which is Custom Pro 1 and Custom Pro 2.
Yep,
And they're not in the menu unless you've calibrated.
right. Unless you connect to the TV.
Right. Okay. And Custom Pro 1 is for the bright mode.
Yeah, you can do either or, right? Correct.
Okay, but generally, and
Yep.
Custom Pro 2 is for low ambient light viewing.
Yep. Okay, just give me a minute. You have to see why it's doing this. Okay. Try this again. Not sure why it's doing this. Oh, we'll just try this for the hell of it. No. I don't think that's going to make a difference. Okay.
You're saying the audio got improved this year, Robert?
Yeah, there was a big upgrade in the audio this year. They added a dedicated center channel for voice, and there's also some extra settings that you have to enhance voice as well. So you have it's clearer, you'll hear speaking very clearly, dialogue will be very clear. And you'll have that extra transducer in there to that you can use as your center channel speaker if you wanted to use all of the actuators as your center channel. You'll have an extra one. And there's a full dynamic tonal range because the subwoofers are also built in. So it should perform very well as a center channel speaker with a big dynamic range. And it's very nice to have the dialogue come directly out of the screen, out of the mouths of the speakers. You image it very, very accurately.
Okay. So let's see what the CMS looks like real quick.
Okay. So was that grayscale? Is that what you were testing?
Yeah, but you know, it's you got to have it you have to have the contrast at 90 in order for that to be accurate. So
okay.
you only need this when you're calibrating. So I just want
Okay.
to see what the saturation sweeps look like.
Alrighty. So we're looking at saturation, not fidelity, but
Not yet. I just want to get a rough idea. Just out of the box, just not doing anything.
okay. So this is with the higher nit value, out of the box, color saturation.
So again, the grayscale isn't set up correctly. So I mean, this is not surprising me. It's off a little bit.
Right.
But I'm just curious.
Okay. Because we really, really should set the grayscale properly.
Yeah,
first.
yeah. We'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, it's no big deal. Okay, so let's give it a quick calibration,
Okay.
and then we'll be able to get a better idea of what's going on.
Okay. And we're going to run Autocal.
Yeah, only because for expediency, so we can go
Okay,
quickly,
just to
because
get it done quickly.
it's getting late here, and I want to. I know what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? So I
Okay.
could see if it does it right. You know, if it doesn't do it right, I'll manually calibrate it. But I don't need to go crazy right this minute.
Okay. And we're calibrating for high ambient light viewing.
Yeah, low, 150 nits.
Okay, you're doing SDR and you're capping SDR at 150 nits.
Right,
In a 10% window.
right. Okay.
And then it'll automatically set it up for HDR by
Yep,
itself.
right.
Okay.
All right, let's just see what it does.
Right now we're going to run Autocal.
Only for expediency.
Okay,
So
very
we
good.
can, because we don't have to go crazy with this right now. Oops, you know what? I forgot this. Hold on. Forgot to set something up. Got to put the pattern insertion in there. Okay. Okay. It's gonna again. This panel is gonna be moving around. We just turned it on.
Yeah.
So the thing with Autocal is you have to understand how to calibrate first, and then once the Autocal finishes, you have to look at what the result is and see where you need to modify. I use it as a tool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're unexperienced and you don't know how to calibrate, it's a great process just to get it done, and you'll get pretty good results. But you can use it as a tool to bring it close to where you need it to be, and then you can tweak it, or you can manually use it. Calibrate using the DDC controls, which is great.
Nice. Very nice. So Autocal gets you in the ballpark, and then you could
Tweak it
further
from there.
enhance it from there.
Yeah, assuming that it does the right thing. Sometimes it makes mistakes.
Right.
Or you can just calibrate it manually.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here for a half hour doing that. So
Okay. Very good. All right.
So what's percentage-wise Autocal get you?
gets you pretty close. Again, you've got to look to see what it does. And if you know how to calibrate, you understand how to calibrate manually, you can easily see what it's doing and if it's making any errors. And if it's making errors, you just fix them, or you just do it again, or just calibrate manually, either or.
Yeah.
But for somebody who doesn't know how to do any calibration and they want to invest a couple $100 in a meter and the software and everything, you can run Autocal and get a pretty good result, at home, without really having any experience, which is kind of what it was designed for.
And what do you use light speed for?
Oh, light space? Can't.
Light space, sorry.
That's mainly like for the LG, if you want to, with the LG you can recreate the 3D LUT
Right.
and then reload it.
Right.
Can't do that on this set. So light space doesn't. Color space or light space doesn't give you. It's no advantage
Right.
to this.
But it has some analytical tools for you to.
Yeah, there's some analytical tools we can use to look at, how, measuring a lot of points of color to see how
Right.
good the says tracking.
Very interesting.
But when you calibrate manually, there's no real difference.
Okay.
After how many hours should you recalibrate?
Hmm?
After you do the first calibration, after how many hours should you recalibrate?
200.
No.
In other words, you want to break it in for 200 hours
Right.
and then calibrate the set, and then it's good for a long time.
How long is a long time?
No, if you calibrate it really
Depends on how
tight,
accurately you
if you calibrate it tight, it'll last many years.
So, at least 3 years.
I would think. I mean, you know, it's going to start moving around every once in a while, you know.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is,
So getting a good calibration to start
Yeah.
keeps it more stable
correct.
for a longer time. Very
Right.
good.
Now I'm just looking at the CMS without even touching it, and it looks pretty damn good.
Right out of the box.
Yep,
Right.
not bad. Let's just see if Autocal can.
CMS stands for Color Management System.
Yep.
And right now we're looking at color accuracy when you're saying that. Right?
Yep, I'm just seeing where it's.
So it's pretty much, the RGB is pretty accurate.
Yeah, once you get the grayscale right.
Right. So set the grayscale and the RGB falls into place.
Mhm.
And out of the box, this set was pushing blue
And deficient in green.
and
Def-
undersaturated in green.
Yep. Pretty typical.
It is? Okay. Because I would have thought the new Evo panel, if this is an Evo panel, has that extra layer of green OLED light.
But that doesn't mean anything.
Okay. All right.
At least it shouldn't. Okay. Not too bad.
And John, after you run all this, can we give these results to Shane and he can publish the
Yeah.
charts?
Yep.
Very good.
That's why I'm just labeling them.
Very good. So we'll have pre and post calibration charts.
Yep.
Okay. And that'll be for,
We're just going to do one picture mode for now.
okay, that's fine.
There's no need to.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we'll look at HDR and
And
see
that's
what it
going
looks
to
like.
be for the color accuracy,
Yeah,
color
it's
saturation.
going to be for accurate mode, like 150 nits darkroom mode.
Okay.
So it's relatively, it's, you know, it's, I like 150 nits because the panel may shift over time, and it, you know, it just depends what you like. You could adjust with the Sony. It's really good on the Master Series. Once you calibrate it, you can lower down the OLED light to get it to 120 nits, and the calibration will change hardly at all.
It's very linear
Yeah.
across the scale of lumens.
Yep.
And the calibration charts are also going to show us the PQ curve as well.
Yeah, right here.
Very good.
So it's tracking PQ perfectly.
It is?
Yep.
Out of the box?
No.
After calibration?
Yeah. Out of the box, it wasn't too bad, but you could see it's not bad. It's like got a maximum delta E of 0.7,
That's nothing.
average
That's
of
great.
0.3, and a little bit of red here, which is I could probably fix this red, but you know, probably be moving around as I'm trying to change it.
Right.
So we'll have to leave that. Oh, it's not a big deal. Leave that alone. So far, this is like typical of an A9G, only it's like brighter.
Yep.
So let's just see now. So you can see this is without the grayscale done, how crazy it looks. So
Yeah.
let's see what it looks now with the grayscale's done.
So now we're going to run the scans after the grayscale was set
Yep.
properly. Looks infinitely better.
Well, you have this.
The red push.
No, it's it's pushing red. I mean, you have this oversaturation in red, right?
Yeah, I see
So
that.
I can go in there and fix this, right? We'll bring it down. I might try it. But I know what's going to happen because the set's so new. As I'm adjusting it, it's going to be moving.
That's right.
Let me just see if I can give it a quick.
And you're going to do that with what I call subtractive color, where you're going to reduce red.
Yeah, but I'm going to use the DDC controls, right? See that right here? And it's got saturation of 2, which is surprising me.
Yeah.
So let's bring that down to 0
Okay.
and try it again. Too much? No, that's perfect. Okay.
Very good.
Let's see if the 100 changes. Oh, pretty good.
Oh, that's perfect.
Brought it down
Love
pretty good. So we gotta. Let's see what else we can touch here. We need the U is high, so let's bring that down. Oh, wow, big difference
Is the
there.
hue like a secondary color? Is that what?
No, the U is like the tint.
Oh, I see the tint. Right. Okay.
Gotta go the other way.
It's clean too, no banding or anything, huh?
Yeah. No, it's very clean. Yeah. You need to take one of these home. I know not today, but say.
You can't get it by truck.
Yeah.
It feels like a 32-inch.
Oh, okay.
And let me just check the luminance here. Let's just see what the 100% is complaining about. Wow, saturation. Okay. Let's just do this.
How's this compared to the Panasonic so far?
Well, Panasonic didn't have like this red problem, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. I'm gonna go the other way. But again, as the set gets breaks in, this red may come down. It's pretty typical.
Somebody saying that the C8s are over 800 nits. Is true?
The C8.
Mm-hmm.
John, do you remember the peak lumens of the average?
Yeah,
C8?
800 nits was the only, you know, it's like this, the C8 and the C9, you did get some sets that were high in the high 700s, but nothing crazy, you know, like people were seeing. There were a couple of sets like that,
but it's a
but
small
not many.
amount that it can hit 800.
Right?
What was the average C8 or C9?
They're about 700, you know,
700
680, 700.
680 to 700.
Yep.
Right. With some reaching close to 800. But that was
No,
rare.
there were very few that. I mean, there were
Very
very
few,
few that went to
okay.
800. Okay, I'm just going to leave this alone right now, only because I can sit here. Well, I'm going to just do one other thing while I'm here, for the hell of it.
I think the real bottom line question is, were C8s brighter than CXs?
Yes.
They were.
Yep.
Okay. But now we're back to having brighter panels even than a C8.
Right. Much better. Okay. Sometimes, if you want, you know, if you're tired of playing with it, you can run the Autocal again, the stick CMS, and
Yep.
it'll work better the second time. If I had more time, I could play with it. But what happens is, because the set's so new, it's moving around as I'm touching it. You know what I'm saying? So I could sit here for hours, you know. We'll leave it like that.
Okay, so this was freshly out of the box.
Yep.
Very much. You bet.
Maybe it has an hour on it.
Yeah, it has less than an hour of uptime on it.
All right, much better. Okay, so now it's, see the difference?
Yeah. That's
And I didn't
nice.
do that. I just let Autocal do that. I didn't go back and look to see what it did, but
Very nice. And you did this by just fixing the grayscale?
no, I just played around with the CMS controls a little bit.
Very good. Looks beautiful.
It's pretty good now.
Yeah.
It's actually very good.
Yeah.
I think the Panasonic has a little tighter CMS,
Right.
but yeah, okay. So it increased the luminance, reduced the saturation. That's what it did. Okay, great.
Okay.
All
good.
right, so that's good enough for now. Well, let's take a look at the color checker for the hell of it.
Okay.
What's the G1 coming?
It varies based on the size, but they're end of May.
Okay, so what's happening here is, the color check is actually pretty good. There's one color that's a little over 1. The max is 1.3 delta E, and the average is 0.7.
That's good.
When I look at this, it looks like an A9G kind of quality to me, which is what we expected.
Excellent.
Nothing crazy better or worse.
Okay.
What about ABL?
Not there yet.
Okay. But we'll get that answer soon.
We need to do all this first. Okay. I could tell you, well, okay. You see how much red is?
Yeah.
It's under 1.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damn good.
No, that's very tight. Yeah.
Okay, so that's delta E max of 1 at 75% is very good, and you can see the grayscale is pretty linear, so I'm pretty happy with this.
Right.
Not going to really do too much better.
Stands for delta errors, and you want to see numbers that are below 5 or 3.
Well, you want to see numbers below 3, but I like to get them as below 1 as I can.
Below 1 is ideal,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what we're doing
Yeah.
here. Good.
Let me just save this file.
So John will send you these files pre and post. Yeah.
I'll send you screenshots so you can look at it.
When you calibrate, will you be using brightness preferred or gradient preferred?
I left that gradient because that's the... See, Dwayne D. Nice did a whole bunch of work for us because what he did was he did a lot of checking of some of these settings. And what we found was that the gradient preferred is the whatchamacallit. In HDR at least, it's the accurate setting, and we're going to look at that now.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, this remote's fantastic. I can see everything in the dark.
That's
Right.
great. Okay.
We're going to look at HDR now. Then we can look at Dolby Vision. But you know what I'm going to do? Let me disconnect from this. Just want to see if I can use the LG templates, which I think I can. Let's do this. See what happens with the Sony, because the HDR and the Dolby Vision it uses the Sdr calibration to create the offsets, but you can either create your own workflows. I'm going to see if we can use the LG workflow. We're not going to connect to the TV. We're just going to use the workflow just to see how it works. And if I can just use that. Go to HDR. Okay, put the set in HDR. Should work, we'll see. It's just the workflow template, you know, for HDR. Let's just see if it, what it looks like. That doesn't work right. I don't think it went into HDR. Oh, you know why? If your set doesn't go into HDR, go to the video signal. Ah, see that?
Oh, I see. Good.
Gotta be auto. Sometimes it doesn't jump out. But if you can't get the set into HDR, that's the trick. It's only got stuck there. Okay, let's try that again. Oh.
So now what's triggering HDR is the CalMan.
Yeah. I just told the meter to, I put the
right.
test pattern generator.
In the HDR mode, it automatically sends the metadata to trigger the panel.
Yep.
Sure looks bright.
Yeah. As I said, you know, it starts out like at 500 and something nits, and then it just jumps up to like, you know, 700 or so. You know, it's pretty crazy. Not sure why it does that.
Is that a problem?
No.
Okay.
Tracking PQ, nice. Let's see what the, it stays that way.
Yeah. Boy, it's right. Following that EOTF beautifully.
Yep. So, let's just see. It's actually pretty good. I think it's better than what we normally get on the A9G.
Yeah, that looked perfect.
I'll talk about it in a second.
Okay.
The colors are the red. Now, red's a little undersaturated. I don't know why, but anyway. So the reason why, see how it's normally flat over here? The reason why it jumps here, this is where the tone mapping comes in.
Right.
Okay, so that's the tone mapping, and that's like right over here. Like about, it looks like about 70%. That's this mark, that's this deviation. So all this stuff is the tone mapping. Now, how you know is I can turn the luminance off, and it's flat, see?
Yep.
I'm going to put the luminance back on, tone mapping's there.
Very good.
So that's how I know it's correct.
Okay.
And then, there's no luminance there, okay. And the color's good. I mean, it's like, you know, for HDR, it's pretty good. It's like at a maximum of 2. The only thing that always bothers me with the Sony is sometimes you get this undersaturation. I'm not sure why in some of these colors. I don't know why that is.
You see it here as well?
It's a little bit, yeah. It's a little undersaturated in red and green. And I don't know if that's because the panel's just brand new. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I might just rename this tab. Not 100% sure that why that is. Let's check this for the heck of it. Let's take a look at the P3. Pretty standard. maximum delta of 1.8, which is pretty good on the CMS. Because what happens is it's trying to measure 100% P3. As it starts getting towards the edges, it can't get there, right? So, okay. What I want to try, let me just do this here. Oops. I can tell you the Panasonic, the ones I've worked on, the GZs, are tighter than this, but this is the next best thing. Now, it would be interesting to see, and I'll show you what we were talking about. I'm going to go to a Post Cal capture, and I'm going to change the tone mapping to bright preferred, okay? And we're going to see how it tracks or doesn't track. Oh yeah, just gotta knock it up a second. Okay, it's doing exactly what I thought. So the peak luminance is about the same. But what happens is it's tracking PQ towards the left, so the midtones are raised up. You know, it's sort of like the Cinema Home in LG. Some very similar to that. So it's making the picture look brighter, but it's inaccurate. So when you put it to brightness preferred in HDR, it's kind of looking like you would see the same kind of thing in Cinema Home HDR on the LG, which is they raise the midtones. Okay. See what I'm saying? It's not the peak brightness is the same. It's just raising the midtones to give the person the visualization that the user so that it looks like it's brighter. And I'm just curious if we put it in vivid mode and see what it looks like. Remember, the reason why vivid is so bright is because it's different color temperature, and you'll see it right here. Wow, isn't that bright?
It's much cooler.
First read, 1200 nits. But you'll see how it's not it's not D65. That's why it's way off. But we're going to look at the CMS. You'll see in a second. Oh, look where it is. So D65 is right there, and that's its white point. It's way towards blue, right? See that? So it's different color temperature, and you could see the blue's like off the scale here, right? It's off the chart. So the more you go towards blue, the brighter it's going to be, and that's why you're getting that 1200 nits with blue like that. Okay. Let's see what Dolby Vision looks like. Let's see if it even triggers it. I don't see anything happen. Okay, let's see. Okay, so nothing happened when maybe after. There it is. There it goes. Okay. So you see Dolby Vision? Yeah. Just got to get that patch off the screen. Okay. Now let's see what the Post Cal looks in Dolby Vision. Okay, just have to trigger it, so give me a minute. Put a 5% window out. Okay. So you have Dolby Vision Bright and Dolby Vision Dark, just like you have in the LG and just like you had before. Let's see what happens when we try to scan it. And this should be TV LED because my Meridio doesn't know the difference. I have it on absolute. So, it's got some issues. I mean, we could probably calibrate this, so do something calibrate in a separate picture mode. It's kind of deficient in blue over here. But the CMS is, it's kind of okay. Let me just. So this is just the plain having to set the offsets for Dolby Vision from Sdr. This will be Dolby Vision. Dark. Curious to see what happens when we do Dolby Vision Bright. So let's see if it has any funky settings set up. That's good. Oh. Yeah, so it's like I said, it's using the Sdr offsets. It's not touching the CMS. Okay, you wouldn't be able to do this before. So let's see what Dolby Vision Bright looks like. Yeah, looks just like on the LG. So on the LG you have, Dolby Vision Dark and Bright. It looks like dark is the reference mode and bright is the unreferenced mode. Because again, you can see how it goes to the left, the PQ on the midtones. So versus dark. See, it has a little problem down here on the bottom, and the near black is a little to the right of the PQ curve, so probably getting a little black crush over here. But it's tracking okay. All right, let's see what let's see what this. Let me just save the file and then we'll see what the content looks like. What I want to do is I just want to see what the grayscale looks like. You know, the uniformity at a lower level. Let me just take a quick look. Go back to SDR. See, you know, with the Sony, you can actually go ahead and calibrate HDR and or Dolby Vision separately on a different color space. But the problem is then you need to switch it, right? You need to manually change it, which is an issue. Unless we find another way to do it. But right now it looks like it's working like all the other sets. Okay, let's take a look at like let's do a full screen. And let's take a look at a 2.3% window. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. Not bad, right? It's 5%. Wonder why we were seeing that vignetting before. Remember that vignetting we were seeing? Seemed to be gone now, right? You see anything?
A little bit on the right there.
Hmm?
Or a little bit on the left.
See any tinting? I don't see any tinting.
No, it's clean.
It's 2.3%. Unless I'm missing something. I don't see that vignetting anymore, do you? Looks pretty good, right? Robert, what do you think?
I can catch it on camera.
What do you think?
I think it was perfectly clean.
Looks good to me.
Beautiful panel.
I wonder why we were seeing vignetting before.
Is that 15%?
That's 2.3%.
What percent is that?
It's 2.3.
Wow,
Let me just change the scale here.
it's beautifully clean. A little bit on the left side, yeah, a little bit, yeah. But that's less than usual.
You can see it.
Yeah,
See it on camera.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
To
much.
exaggerate what we see in person, though.
So here's 1%.
John, what's
Wait.
your take on that?
I mean, that's 1%. Actually, I wonder why it's not changing. Hang on. Let me make sure I'm not. That's 0%. Okay, hang on. Okay. There we go. All right, so that's 1%. So you got the vignetting on the left side there. See that? A little bit on the right. This is 2%. Three percent, 4%, 5%. Okay, so we were looking at 5% before. This looks pretty good, actually, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's when you start getting lower that. I mean, there's a little bit of vignetting on the left and right. It's not too crazy. That's 0. That's 1. You see the vignetting. At 1%, I mean, this is great. I mean, it's really good. I mean, if you think about it, it's not very linear down here. It's 2% and 3%. But you don't see any crazy stuff in the middle. It's just a slight nonsense on the edges, right? Not bad. Not bad. And here's 5%. It's pretty clean. And then let's go back up to 100. I have the 256 point thing up, so it's hard to find everything. 1 minute. Okay, that's 100.
Looks very clean.
Yeah, I don't see any tinting.
Yeah.
You see any dead pixels? Yeah, no. So overall, from a calibration point of view, I mean, this set calibrates, in my mind, a little bit better than the A9G. A little tighter, especially since we haven't even broken this panel in. Tinting-wise, is really good.
Yeah.
I'm really shocked, actually. And banding-wise, it's really good, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even down, like, to 1%, which you normally see all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
A little bit of problem on the edges, but nothing really outrageous.
You see blobs and things.
Yeah, I think Dwayne saw that, too. I'm pretty sure. Oh, there he is. He's watching the stream now. Was late. Yeah. Hey, Dwayne, so you're watching the stream. I'm just curious. Can I call? I'm going to call you for a second. I want to ask you about the 1%. So give me a second.
Let's put him on speaker.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to call him right now. See if he answers.
Hello?
Hey, Dwayne, it's John and Robert and Shane. How you doing? Hang on. 1 second. Hang on. Lost him.
You gotta move it?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice.
Hey, Dwayne, if you can hear me, just hang up in a second. I hung up on you by mistake. I'm going to call you right back. Yeah, I got to move my car at 5:30.
What time is it?
It's 4:10.
Wow, no kidding.
Okay, Dwayne, I'm going to call you right back.
Hi, John.
Hey, Dwayne, how you doing? Good.
Good, the call dropped.
Yeah, it's my mistake. I went to raise the volume so that everybody can hear you, and it's my fault. So, Dwayne, you know, we got a whole bunch of these in today. I'm sure you're watching the thing. When you were looking at the uniformity, when you were down at 1%, are you seeing what we're seeing now? You know, you got like vignetting on the side a little bit, on the right and left side at 1%?
Yes, 1% and 0.5%.
Okay.
That's where you will see it.
Okay. And then when I raised it to 2%...
It's gone.
Yeah, on this set, I mean, it's almost gone. I mean, it's a slight bit on the left-hand side, a hair, you know? Can you see it on the feed? I don't know how the feed is, but this is 2%.
The feed is like lagged by, I would say, a few minutes.
Okay.
Well, actually about a minute or two.
All right.
So,
all right.
yeah.
So when I go to 2%, it's almost gone. You know, again, I have this at 150 nits, all right? So I don't know what you had yours set to. And then when I go to 3%, it's pretty much gone. 4% and 5% is gone. We don't see any tinting at all. It's like totally white, you know, so that's good. But I just wanted to check with you on the 1%. You know, because the set's not very linear down here, but, you know, normally on the regular sets, right, you have all kinds of nonsense at 1%, right?
Well, I always calibrate at 100 nits.
Yeah. So you'll be even lower, right?
Exactly. So you're scaled a little bit compared to me. I always would see the vignetting in the 0.5 and the 1%. As you move up beyond the 1%, it goes away from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it varies per unit. So
yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay. I mean, I don't see any banding in the center. You know what I'm trying to say? That it's very clean.
You might, if you get really close to it, you might see like what I would call hair size banding.
Yep.
Super thin, spaghetti size.
That's what we
banding,
see.
call it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's so minimal that, and it's so dispersed that you would never see that in content in my mind. You know.
I would not say that.
But I mean, you don't have those gel bars or anything, those obvious
No, you
things.
don't have, no, of course, yeah, you don't have gel bars, but I mean, if you see it on those patterns, you'll see it in some content. That content is at that level.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really go up close. I mean, it's really, I mean, relatively speaking, this is very clean, you know.
Very, very clean.
The other thing we noticed was when it calibrated okay, you know, it's fine, you know, I mean, it was pushed, you know, red was a little oversaturated, but then I tweaked it down a little bit, so that's fine. I see that a lot on these sets. And the thing I did notice was that blue was pushing blue. It was also it was undersaturated in green. So when we set the white point, you know, it's pushing. If I leave it, you know, if I leave the 100% patch up in HDR for about 10 seconds, it jumps to like maybe like 770 or 780, somewhere in that range. And if I put it in vivid mode, it's like almost 1,300 nits.
Right. Now, here's the difference between what you guys did, because I saw a couple of comments in regards to this.
Yep.
You guys are measuring right out of the box. I didn't start measuring until I had 100 hours of HDR.
Yeah, right.
And and I can tell you now, something has happened after about 110 HDR hours, because it's jumped back up, and I'm closer to where you guys are. I'm not over 1,300 nits in vivid, but I'm like 1280, 1290, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's in that range, yeah. That's good. You know what it is the sets just came in today, so we wanted to take a quick look at them.
Right, of course. Yeah. I didn't catch all of the stream, but I did catch some of it. When you're doing your measurements, these sets are totally different than all of the other prior OLEDs. When you are doing your measurements in your HDR and Dolby modes, you have to, on 100% stimuli, wait roughly, I count to about 6 or 7, then do the measurement for 100%.
That's what I did.
Otherwise, it's going to measure lower.
That's what I did.
Right, and it just ramps up. It keeps ramping up. If you keep it on constant measurement, you'll see that thing. It'll still go. It'll continue to go. It doesn't drop down like the prior year models do. It just keeps going. I've sat there for 5 minutes and it's still going up.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I did, Wayne. Because when you do a first read, it's like, I don't know, like 550 nits, and then like almost instantaneously, it's like it's like a spike. I mean, it's like 600, 700, and then it starts then it starts leveling out. And I didn't want to leave it on too much longer. I left it on for maybe 10 seconds, and it was, you know, up like at 770 where you were reading. So I said, okay, that's good enough, you know. But I'm sure that if I were to leave it up for 30 seconds, it would be in the 800s, you know, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I got all the way up to, I think now I can get up to 825, post calibration.
Yeah. So that's good. And this was post calibration too, so that's good, right? So when we lowered the blue down a little bit and we raised the green, you know, the green makes up for some of the lost luminance, which is good. So far so good. I mean, the only thing I noticed on the HDR is the grayscale tracked nicely. You know, I could see, you know, once I take the luminance off, that it's pretty flat. You know, just doing, letting the set generate the offsets from the SDR. The only thing I noticed was that and I've seen this on a couple of Sonys, I don't know why, maybe you know, it's, I saw that the red was a little, and the green was a little desaturated when I at 75% on the HDR. And I don't know why that is, you know. Any ideas?
It could just be unit-to-unit variance. However, what I do, I don't do any of the CMS stuff whatsoever with the color meter. That's a different conversation. I just use my Spectro.
Oh, okay.
My Spectro has red. I didn't even touch the settings for red. Green, I did have to reduce. I need to turn it on to see, but I had to reduce, I think, the luminance and the saturation on that.
Yeah. So in this one we had to raise it. This one we had to raise it.
Wait a minute. You're in HDR. You're talking about HDR?
Yeah. No, so in other words, once the SDR was calibrated, right, and everything looked good, right? Everything was under 1, delta E of 1 max, right? So it was good. When I put the set in HDR in custom mode and just took a scan, right, and just to want to see it, you know, the grayscale looked great. I mean, good enough for HDR, right? And because the set's doing the offsets, right? And then when it measured the CMS, the basic, you know, primaries and secondaries, the red was a little bit desaturated, and so was the green. A little bit, not crazy amount, but it was a little bit. I've seen this every once in a while. Maybe it's panel to panel, but I mean, I can go in there and fix it, you know, but then I'd have to set up a different color space. This is just, you know, this is just basically what when the set's generating the offsets. And again, you know, maybe if I run this for 200 hours, it'll be fine. Yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps. I'm looking at my settings right now for HDR. The green, I had to boost the luminance.
Right.
Hue and saturation, I left at their default of 0.
And how about red?
So red, let's see. Red, I boost the saturation and the
right.
The luminance.
Right.
The hue, I just dropped it by 1.
Okay, so that makes sense. So
minus 1 green.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's what we're saying, right? Okay. So yeah. Okay, that's good.
Hey, Dwayne, it's Robert. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, Robert?
Oh, great. Thank you. How about ABL?
Thank you so much for the panel.
Yeah, we got a nice shipment. How about the ABL? What do you think about that? Is it normal or?
I'm a week ahead of you guys in this evaluation. I could tell you this, like I said, these displays do not react the same way as prior years OLEDs. ABL wise, are you speaking of like static images, or are you speaking of content in APL, not ABL? Which one?
Oh, okay. I think ABL.
What he wants to know, what he wants to know is, we haven't looked at it yet, is when you put full screen white up, right? When does the limiter kick in? Is it more relaxed than the A9G, or is it more or is it the same?
If you put full field white up, I am measuring 175 nits.
Right, that's what we measured. Very close to that, yeah. But I mean, does the ABL start kicking in any sooner than the A9G, for instance, or the A88H?
No, I've actually walked away from it for about 3 minutes, came back, and it was still at 175.
Okay, there you go.
Good.
That's good news.
That's
okay.
very good.
Yeah. Now, I will say that if I have left it on like the Apple TV's main menu, and it's dim the screen, but I think that's the Apple TV, not the actual TV itself.
Yeah, okay.
I may be wrong, but after X amount, well, actually, no, it's actually the TV. It had to be about 5 minutes or so before it started dimming. Now, I think what you guys are referring to is the static image limiter.
Yes, the static, right.
And in regards to that, I'm still testing that because I know it reacts somewhat differently in the custom modes than it does in game mode.
Yeah, we haven't looked at game, but I mean, right now we're just using custom. I mean, I didn't see it dim. You know what I'm saying? Like on the LG,
it's not going to dim immediately. That's one thing I've seen. It doesn't dim immediately, and it's actually, I mean, it's phenomenal, to be honest with you, what this panel can do. Wait until you guys start using actual content and start looking at the color volume that you can clearly see with your eyes, the difference in the color volume between this panel and anything else you guys have OLED-wise to compare it by.
Yeah.
I mean, some scenes are just mind-blowingly.
Well, we're looking at one now. I have a Dolby Vision, one of the test patterns. Yes. Look at the sparklers. Like, we're in a pitch black room, and I can tell you, without even having a reference, those sparklers are. It's unbelievable how highlighted they are. I mean, it's
Right.
I've not seen that before. You know, I mean, they're good, but this is really bright. You know, the specular highlights on this is
Beautiful.
phenomenal.
It's beautiful. It looks very real looking.
You know what I'm saying, Twain? I mean, I don't have a side by side, but you know what I'm saying? And look at the shingles on the roof, right? How good they are. And this is really dark.
Right. When you put it side by side to something else, then you'll be able to understand what Sony has done with the actual the boosting of not just the white subpixel, but all 4 subpixels.
That's right.
And it varies per content, but there are some scenes on, like, for instance, the Spears and Munsell disc where it's a night and day difference between what they're doing on this one and other stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm looking at this is I forget the guy's name. Oh, you know where these patterns come from. But the thing I'm trying to say, so this is, you're looking at the feet. I'm going to show you something else that I noticed right away that kind of blew my mind. It's SDR. Let me just find it real quick. I mean, I saw this immediately, and I don't need a reference to validate it.
I could have sworn it was HDR content. It was so vivid. It was so dynamic looking.
Give me one sec. I just have to find it. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm choking here. It's dusty in this room. Okay, so this, you've seen this a million times. Let me just make sure I'm in the right mode. Okay, the brightness is set at max, but I'm just going to leave it there for the minute. It's really bright, okay? The feed will catch up, but in the next scene, you'll see what I'm talking about. You see the trees up in the upper right-hand side, in the back, how bright they are? It's yeah, but you'll see in a second. I'm going to pause it when I get to that spot that I want you to see. Well, here's one thing that's interesting. Wait till the feed catches up. So one thing we notice immediately is like when I'm looking at the roses on her in her hand, I paused it so you can catch up. It's incredible. I mean, I'm literally like 3 or 4 feet away from the screen, and that rose looks super, super sharp. And I don't see any edge enhancements or, you know, like with the older Sonys when you have the, that edge enhancer thing turned on, you whatever that's called.
Reality creation.
Yeah, the reality creation, right? Remember how you showed me, like, when you really look close and you put a test pattern up, you start seeing artifacts and things like that, and to get it really right, you need to lower that down or turn it off. Well, I haven't touched this, and I'm looking at that rose, and that rose looks absolutely stunning. It looks like it's real. You see the pink rose in her hand?
Yes. So you still have reality creation turned on?
It's on, yeah. I haven't touched anything, right? I can go and turn it off. But all I'm saying to you is that even with it on, I don't, you know, when the older sets, when it's on, it's like, it doesn't look right, you know, it looks fake. But now with this reality creation on, excuse me, let's see. So reality creation is on manual 20, all right? So it's on manual 20. Yeah, so that's okay. If I put it on auto, it goes great, you know. But I'm just saying is that even if I turn it off, right, it still look there. It's off now. Let the feed catch up. It looks really good. I mean, it's super sharp. You know, it looks really real. You know, it just look. You know,
that's the new XR processing. They've tweaked that actual database, but that setting it in particular always is recommended to be off. Now,
Yeah.
I've been playing with it in both auto on the A8H and the A90J. The A8H with the latest firmware on it, it's pretty much neck and neck with the A90J with that thing on auto.
Yeah.
With varying pieces of content. So, I mean, it's an interesting setting, and like I said, I do know that the A90J does have a more diverse database for comparison of scene-to-scene images, but for HDR, I would probably leave that thing off, and especially Dolby Vision.
Yeah.
And make sure in Dolby Vision you have smooth gradation turned off also.
Yeah. But the thing I'm pointing out is that even with this on in SDR, look at her belt, right? You know, right underneath the rose there. The detail is unbelievable. You know, it's something that I wouldn't have noticed, you know, before, like on the LG for argument's sake. And on my A88, you know, my A9F, for instance, and even on the on some of the older Sonys, when you have the reality creation on, it's just not as crisp as this. I mean, it's not as good, you know, as film-like, I would say, as this. And they're doing a better job with it. That's what I'm trying to bring out, you know. And even though, like with SDR, I used to leave it off, right? You know, reality creation on the older sets. But this one here looks like, I mean, I just don't see any jaggies. I don't see anything that looks wrong, you know. So
you won't recognize it really with the content. When you throw on the test pattern, you'll see it.
Yeah, but the thing I'm trying to point out is it really makes the content pop. I mean, look at that scene. Look at this scene right here. Let the this thing here. I want to let this thing drop out. Yeah. So, like, even when you look at the roses and you look at the the highlights on the roses, it's just so much more highlights. I mean, yeah. And this is another great shot. Let me just, I mean, everything just looks so much brighter. Like, for instance, when you look at the leaves up on the upper right-hand side here, when this catches up, you know, with the sun hitting the leaves and stuff, you just don't normally see that like this on the older sets. You know, it's these specular highlights, even in SDR, are really good. You know, the whatever the process is doing a nice job. Because that's where the sun is hitting, right? If the sun is like, is hitting the bushes like that, you know, on those trees on the right-hand side, the upper side there. So I thought that was really excellent. It's very realistic. It's so sharp. It's incredible.
I got that Leo button right here.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great.
We're going to look at something else here, and then...
You figured it out?
Is there anything else you want to comment on, Dwayne, before we let you go?
Well, I mean, it's again, the feed is lagged, so
yeah.
I caught the feed after you guys had already started, so I'm not exactly sure where you guys are in measurements, what you've done so far. Like, can you just catch me up as far as what you've done, measurement-wise?
So what we did was I measured the set out of the box. You know, well, first I profiled my meter, right? And then after that, we measured the set out of the box to see what it was looking at pre-cal, right? And of course, and we wanted to measure like the maximum full screen 100%, which, as I said, was about got the same reading you got. And then what we did was the 10% window. Then we looked at the HDR. And then what I did was I did a quick, you know, I connected up with CalMan to get the 20 point up. And I just let the Autocal run just real quick, right? Because the set's like turned on like an hour, right? And then adjusted the CMS manually and remeasured everything. And because we lowered the blue and raised the green, right, on the 100%, the light output was about the same. It was pretty close, right? So we didn't lose too much luminance by bringing it back to D65. And then I ran SDR and looked at it and ran the saturation sweeps and the color checker, all pretty good. Everything pretty much like 1.3 max on the color checker, which was nice. And then I did an HDR scan, and I did exactly what you said. I let it pre-roll kind of first. I let it do a continuous 100% until it jumped where it needed to be, stopped it, and then ran the scan. And it looked good. As I said, I noticed that the red and the green were a little desaturated with the set doing its conversion. And then I went and I used the LG workflow just to look at the Dolby Vision, because I didn't build a separate one for Sony yet. And I measured it Dolby Vision Absolute, and it tracks PQ nicely. It was a little bit, I found with the set doing the calculations, it was a little bit to the right hand side of PQ and the lower IREs in the Dolby Vision. Other than that, it tracked okay.
You can that once if you calibrate with the Dolby Vision, it will track it perfectly. I posted those post calibration graphs over at AVS, but yeah, you just have to calibrate it.
Yep.
Did you notice that how the out of the box Dolby Vision does not really align with the other modes? Like, it's more accurate out of the box.
I didn't check Dolby Vision out of the box, so I didn't check that, but that's a good point. And and I'll tell you the reason why it does that. Because one of the things I noticed in Dolby Vision was after it did the conversion, it was undersaturated in blue a little bit on the grayscale, whereas out of the box it's oversaturated. So I'm assuming if I would have measured it out of the box, it would have compensated. It would have been right on, like you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's fine. Again, these errors that we're seeing are really small, right? I'm sure that if you had two sets side by side, one perfect, one like this, it would be very hard to tell the difference. But we're splitting hairs, and we're talking about minor differences, and so that's really what we did. And as I said, when I look at the Panasonic, the GZ series that I've been working on, the CMS is tighter. It's a little better. I get maybe a maximum of like 0.5 on the delta E, on the saturation and color on the color checker sweeps and stuff. But this is good. It's like the next best thing, which is good. So I'm pretty pleased with it. Picture's like phenomenal. It's
Sure
Yeah,
is.
it is an absolute phenomenal picture. One note on the Dolby Vision: make sure you have the HDR tone mapping option set to off.
oh, okay. Didn't do that.
Yeah, because when you have it set to on, it's pretty much doing a double processing. It's taking the Dolby engine and then it's overlaying what Sony does on top of that.
Now the question I have for you is like if you don't calibrate a separate color space for Dolby, and you let the set do its thing, right? Do the conversions. Can you turn off the tone mapping on Dolby Vision, and can you turn it off separately, or will it track to the other picture modes? I could try it to see. Yeah, what I'm asking?
Your question.
In other words, when you calibrate SDR, right, the set's going to automatically generate the offsets for HDR
Correct.
and Dolby Vision, like for Expert 1. Now, you can go ahead and calibrate Expert 2 if you want for Dolby Vision, for argument's sake, or whatever, right? But I guess what I'm saying is if you're letting the set do the offsets the standard way, can you turn the tone mapping off in Dolby Vision and let it stay on with HDR, or does it track?
It's going to do exactly, I'm sorry, no. It's going to actually do worse with the offsets than the defaults from what I've seen. So
Right.
that's why I went ahead and calibrated the Dolby Vision mode.
Yeah, on it's like an Expert 2 or something, right?
No, I use a different color temperatures. Well, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, Expert 2 basically.
Yeah,
I
okay.
did my own thing with it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's it. I mean, that's what we wanted to know. I mean, that's fine. That's good. I mean, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, once you calibrate it, I mean, it's grayscale wise, you shouldn't have any deltas above 0.02 in 2000 formula.
Right. I mean, it's really close. I mean, even when you let the set do its own thing, do the offsets, it's pretty good. The only other thing I noticed on this set, let me just double check it now. Remember I told you about the 10-bit test patterns?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just hang on a second. So one of the things I noticed, and I see this on all the Sonys, I'm going to bring the test pattern up. You'll be able to see it. I don't have 17 flashing right. Oops, hang on.
You don't. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it right now. Just have to get my eyes. Well, it's okay, actually. I shouldn't say that. It's flashing. Okay. You know what it was? I did it before I calibrated it. Let me look at the 10-bit test pattern. All right. Just got to wait till this thing stops. Oh, it's actually pretty good.
Yep.
I don't know if you could see this, Dwayne, but you're going to see it soon. The 10-bit test pattern's up, and I could see like 67, 66 flashing barely. So it's good.
Yep.
The grayscale is good. I could tell you for a fact, before I adjusted the grayscale, I was seeing like 78 flashing maybe, and that was it. So I got all these extra levels flashing once we calibrated it. So this is excellent. This is better than I've seen on the A9G.
That's the SDR version?
Yeah, this is SDR.
Yeah, that out of the box on mine, it was fine.
Yeah, on mine it wasn't.
Yeah, and actually out of the box on mine, I actually have to reduce the actual, the 5% control, gamma control to align it. But I don't ever have any problems with the ramp up.
Yeah.
Well, I know what the issue is. You guys, you calibrate your stuff with the peak luminance on medium, right?
Actually, I put it on high.
Put on high?
Yeah, only reason why I did that was because I wanted to see what the maximum the set was going to do. But you do it sometimes on low, right, or off?
I do it off.
Okay.
There's a difference in gradations on the lower end between off and low. medium and high.
Yeah, see, the reason why I didn't do that was because I can't get 150 nits if it's off, right? So,
Yeah, you can only get up to like 120.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, so it's probably going to vary a little bit, but the bottom line is that after I calibrated it, it's fine.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a phenomenal set. It's in most scenes, it is brighter. I actually have, I was in the middle of doing a measurement run on the CX here in comparison that I just picked up as a brand new one, January 2021 build, just to compare it to the other CX that I have, see if there's any changes. You know, remember we had this conversation about how things switch and, you know, when is the best time to pick up these things because of the QC part of it?
Yep.
Yeah, so I will say with these measurements off of this particular panel, the A90J just trounces it, especially in the full field and the APL, like the APL 50, 50% window patterns, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a brighter set.
Yeah, you know, and I'll tell you, I don't even need a I don't even need it.
To tell you that.
I could see it, you know. And also the gradient, I have it on, I think it's on low, the gradient control. I'll tell you 1 second.
The tone mapping or?
No, the smooth gradation.
No, smooth gradation.
It's on low.
Yeah, on low for HDR is fine.
Yeah.
You just have to turn that off in Dolby Vision. It does not function correctly in Dolby Vision.
Yep. But I could see even with that, the gradients are absolutely phenomenal. It's perfect. I don't see any gradients in the picture at all.
No, not at all. You may lose a smidgen of detail if you really do what I call a pixel peeping on certain content.
Yep.
But from viewing seating distance, it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
You can see it anyway.
Be honest with you, it's so sharp. I don't see how you can even make it any sharper.
Yeah.
It's I want to see this one scene here. They got a picture of a boat in the. It's phenomenal. I mean, this thing's blinding me. I mean, it's. This isn't. Is this HDR? I don't think so. Let's see. No, this is not even HDR. Look at that boat.
Yeah.
So that's SDR.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm really lagged with the actual feed, so I don't know exactly.
Yeah, you're going to see the boat come up in a minute. Yeah, this is SDR.
Jesus.
Lots of depth.
Is this with your peak brightness of high
Yeah.
and brightness at max?
Yeah, I have to lower the brightness. Let me lower the brightness back down.
No. If you leave it at max, like I did that comparison also on SDR, yeah, it sleeps and bounds brighter than the H and the CX and the C9.
It is.
The A90 is just it's just a brighter TV.
Yeah, it is. There's no like this is brightness up. Well, look at that. I mean, you're going to see this thing in a second, but the highlights are incredible. I just want to bring it down to where I had it 150 nits because we're getting blinded here. and
that's the beauty of these sets because full field brightness is now at roughly 175 nits. Like you don't get the dimming with full field. So anything up to 175 nits, if you calibrate it, it is linear as far as the brightness. So
right, and that's really
brighter than any prior OLED at that same setup. We use 10% patterns to do the calibration.
right, and that's why we didn't see any dimming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we're not even there. We're not even where it's going to start dimming. Interesting.
Yeah. We're also going to test.
It'll start dimming once you get beyond 175 nits, but it's really lax in how it's dimming. It's like what I did is a super bright day mode, and it's getting 550, 575 nits in a 10% window pattern compared to the A8H where it's at 430 something.
Right. So when you do a bright mode, what do you set the brightness to?
I put the peak luminance on high and put the brightness at max.
Okay.
That's what. Yeah, I just call that a super bright mode. I
Yeah.
don't personally use it, but others would use it. I can keep all of my stuff at 100 to 120 nits.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, to me, you would use the bright mode, like if you're watching a ball game or something and you're in a and during the day and you have windows open, right, So look at this here. Let me know when you can see the arm, the space shuttle arm on the right-hand side.
No, not yet.
When the feed catches up.
Yeah.
These kind of things are definitely different. You see this here, Robert?
Yeah.
See how bright that is?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't normally see that.
Yeah.
Right? Let me know when it catches up, Dwayne. Do you see the space shuttle arm on the right-hand side?
Not yet.
Okay, is that far back? Yeah.
Now I see it. Okay.
You see the highlight, the white, on the right-hand side, all the way to the right of the screen. You see how bright that is?
No, I can't really see it because, of course, the dynamic range of the camera that's recording this
okay.
is nowhere near adequate for its actual TV.
Well, in real life, the specular highlights on this set is unbelievable.
Yep.
The processing is really good.
Yeah.
It's different than the other sets that we've seen. Okay, I want to see one other thing, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to compare this set to the new G1 from LG.
Yeah, I mean, I could see already. I mean, this is, I look at so many of these sets every day that I know. But what I think you're going to see is that the specular highlights on the Sony are way better than on the LG when they're side by side. That's my guess.
Yeah, I would guess that in the color volume realm, yes.
Yeah.
Remember, LG and Sony drive the panels differently. I expect the G1 to be visibly brighter because of, unless they've changed their driving scheme, but I expect it to be visibly brighter with white
Yep.
specular highlights, but not with anything with color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, and it's like I always told you, Dwayne, right? You could sit with an LG and use color space or whatever and build like a huge LUT, and go crazy for a couple hours. And then with this set, even if you calibrate it manually, right? I mean, it was going to take a half hour, you know what I'm saying? For a picture mode or 45 minutes tops, right? And the picture's like really good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, visually, I'm sure if you measure it, you'll see more errors, right? But visually, it looks great, And you spent a fraction of the time calibrating it.
Absolutely. And, here I have, the C9 and the C10, which are 3D LUT internally calibrated. Now I'm comparing it to, I also have my A9G, which has an external 3D LUT on it. And I'm comparing that to the A88H and the A90J. Both of those are just straight, grayscale and CMS.
Mm-hmm.
The A90J is so close to my A9G and the C9 and the C10 with all three of those with their 3D LUTs. It is so close that I'm really, really contemplating outside of the 83-inch A90J, which I am getting.
Yeah.
Not even bothering doing a 3D LUT on the other displays in the house.
Yeah.
It's
that good, right?
It is that good on these A90Js.
Very good.
And that's good, And again, the Panasonics are like that too in a way, right? I was talking to some of my friends over in Italy, and over in
great engineering. If the color engineers at this, factories do their job, 3D LUTs are not necessary, to be honest with you.
Right. That's exactly what they were saying to me, And I had to see it because, Vincentio, in his shootout, the Panasonic's like always winning, most of the categories, if not the whole thing. And it was like, wow, it's like, how could that be? But when I looked at the Panasonic, I went, wow, now I can see why, With very little adjustment, the set is like near perfect, And the Sony is like pretty close.
It's very close. And once you guys start looking at low-lit scenes and comparing it to other displays, you're going to really see how improved the shadow details are on this A90J compared to all of the other models. It's, for me, going off from memory, this is right up there with the Panasonic.
Yeah, the shadow detail is very good. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at some dark stuff now, And even before, when I was looking at the lady with the sparkler, I'm sorry, that's a killer, right? And you can see all the detail, you know. And again, you know, how much did I set like a couple hours on, and I didn't go crazy calibrating. I just let the Autocal run and look fine to me. Did the adjustment on the CMS manually. Didn't do anything else. That's all I did, right? Didn't agonize over it, you know, and it looks great. So I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, the detail and the depth is nice. It looks pretty similar to the Panasonic, don't you think?
It really does, yeah. It really, really does. It has that very dynamic look to it. Kind of naturally looking 3D almost.
So we're pretty pleased. We're going to open up another set to see if it looks the same. But I just wanted to bounce off you, being you've been testing it for a week. We want to just gain from some of your testing experience and you know, get some input from you. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I'm pretty much done with the evaluation stuff. It's just now I'm in the write-up phase and taking photos of, like, you know, the screen uniformity and other stuff needed for the review. But I mean, it's a step up. I would call it that. Whether or not you should upgrade from a prior year, because I know many people are asking that question, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I'm not spending your money now. If you want to buy one and send it to me, sure, go ahead and upgrade. Feel free to do that. But you know, for me, it is absolutely an upgrade for the living room and my media room. So I am definitely excited about this year's A90J. So,
Dwayne, one last thing. We didn't play too much with the motion because I know you worked on that. So can you share with the audience what you learned with the BFI? Because just playing with it a little bit, it looks, I mean, if I put the BFI on 1, looks pretty good. You know, I don't see any flashing. If I put it on 3 and max, I see a little bit of flashing, but 1 and 2, I don't see very much flashing, and I don't see too much dimming. So can you tell us?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the A8H. BFI 1 is with 24 frames per second material, whether or not it's 1080p or 4K. It's going to refresh at 96 hertz. Same thing for option number 2. It's just the duty cycle between 1 and 2 are a little different. When you do it's the clearness setting, right? Put it on 3,
the clearness. Yeah.
When you put it on max with 24 frames per second material, it's going at 48 hertz. That's why you see the flicker.
Oh, okay.
Right. And with 60p or even 120p material, it's going to be at 60 frames per second.
I mean, you get a little bit of dimming, but it's not that bad, you know?
Pretty minimal.
Yeah, I mean...
And it's doing a good job.
Yeah, it's doing a great job, you know? Yeah. So it looks like the BFI is...
Anyone use it with HDR Adobe Vision because it just takes too much of a hit on the brightness. Even on the option of number 1, it's just too much for me to get rid of.
Yeah.
So for Dolby Vision and HDR, I would leave the clearness off. Personally, I just turn motion flow entirely off and just use the Cinemotion. 24 frames per second exclusive content, you can keep it on low. If on your input you're varying between your interlace and progressive signals, putting it on high is the best option because it digs deeper to try to find those the flags for film in it, in the actual content. It can and will hiccup every now and then, so it's not going to be a set it and forget it forever type thing. But the actual instances where it'll trip up are far and few.
Gotcha. And we leave the Cinemotion on high, right?
Cinemotion high if you're doing a variation of interlace to progressive signals from 60 to 24. Or anywhere else in the world where you have the 50 hertz and the 25 hertz. Leave it on high because that's the equivalent of auto from last year and the prior year. Low is something new. It's just looking for 24 frames per second from 24 hertz signals.
All right. Well, thanks for your time and appreciate it. They're going to play with the.
Well, we got the Leo Bonda here. We're going to test input lag time.
16 milliseconds.
16, is that what you got? Yeah.
Good. That's good, right?
In the game
That's
mode.
1080 and 4K.
And that's in the game mode.
That's in game mode.
Yeah.
If you do it in custom mode, don't even try it.
Okay, alrighty.
And one more thing that I actually found out about that new tone mapping setting.
Mm-hmm.
When you set it to brightness preferred, it actually increases the lag time, and I guess it's bogging down the processing on the panel, because if you start trying to go through the menus while content is playing, you'll get a laggy menus.
Gotcha.
As soon as you switch it to gradation preferred, that lagginess is gone.
Yeah,
so
that's good to know.
Right. So Sony's processing is really, really working with brightness preferred.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at it, now that I see the scans, I saw your scans on AVS, and I looked at my scans. I mean, basically, when you put it on brightness preferred, it's almost like it's equivalent to like the Cinema Home on the LG. It looks almost identical. You know, your peak brightness is roughly the same, but your midtones are all raised up so that it appears to your eye as being brighter, which is fine.
It's basically it scales from the lowest end to the highest end of the actual PQEOTF.
Right.
And so it's just going to the left, which means it's boosting the brightness on it, and it becomes inaccurate now.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Trust me, it looks great, but it's not correct.
Right.
So I understand why people will prefer to use that actual setting, and why they use Cinema Home on the LG models. But if you care about accuracy and you care about just image quality overall, leave it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I should say, leave it off in Dolby Vision on the A90J, and leave it in gradation preferred on HDR.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Good. All right.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks for your time, and thanks for the input and all the testing and stuff. And maybe next week we'll do a whatchamacallit. We'll do a FaceTime or something.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks a lot, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Should we do the input lag?
Yeah.
I'm going to use you on that, because I've never been able to use that.
While you're doing the input lag,
We're
I'm
gonna
going
go to game
to,
mode.
yeah, I'm going to hit the restroom real quick.
An HDMI cable?
What's that?
Need HDMI cable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to put it on a different input.
Oh, yeah, what input do you want to be on?
Wait a second. So I'm going to stay for, what's his name, right?
If you could,
Yeah.
we'd love you.
That's all. You just got to buy me a sandwich.
Okay, good. That's okay. That's not a problem.
I know, I'm only kidding you.
Okay.
So Shane, I'm going to leave everything hooked up, just make sure you don't trip.
Yeah.
You getting any people talking about the I'll meet you till I have a light here. Do you have another HDMI cable? Yep.
Yeah. Do you need a 2.1? This is 18 gigabits.
It's only 1080p.
That's fine.
Okay, good.
Let me just move this over here. Okay. You can put it right in the side there. I see HDMI. What's it? HDMI 1 and 2, right?
No.
2 and 3.
3 and 4.
Okay, 3 and 4. So you can't. Oh, it doesn't make a difference on that one.
1080p. Yeah.
Okay.
We're testing input lag time now, milliseconds.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick. HDMI 1. So just I'll put it for you. Hang on. Just gotta press the input button on this remote. Input.
this.
You want a flashlight or something?
Yeah, I got
Got one? It should be in either 3 or 4 if you want the fastest.
it. Well, this is on 1080p.
Okay.
It should pop up, but I don't know what's going on here.
Maybe we're on the wrong input on the TV. Yeah.
Is that one?
No luck?
No.
I wonder why. I never had any luck with that thing.
We only got it to work once when we did the A9S.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
Yeah. So we're not having any luck with this Leo Bonder. I don't know
No?
if you want to take a quick look at it to see if we know. what we're
I
doing.
don't really.
Does it
what
need a
do you-
battery or something?
I got batteries in there. I mean, they could be dead, but there's a good chance.
Well, Dwayne says he tested at 16
Or
milliseconds.
16, you said. Yeah, no. Still not like, unless you got some double A's.
I think I do.
It's on HDMI 1, yep.
I switched it over to 3,
Okay.
just in case.
I got you. Okay.
Fresh batteries. Let's see.
No,
You're on the wrong input, maybe?
No,
no, it's
definitely not.
it's the only one that's on. Go to HDMI 4, just the heck of it. You see something there, no?
Yeah, you
No, it's
see,
nothing.
see the little logo up there.
Wonder why.
No clue. Like I said, I only got to work once on the A9S.
You know what? Oh, you unplugged my thing. I was going to try my cable. Just to see.
Just in case the cable's bad? Anything's possible.
So plug my cable back in, and then I'll we'll do it from this side.
Let me see.
Is there anything else we should be doing that
That's
we
it.
spoke about?
We just want to try another set. See how
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think they opened anything.
You're in.
No, we'll open one.
Yeah, we'll open it ourselves.
We'll tell Wendy, oh, go over there. No.
Where's your, you have another cable right here somewhere?
Did you put it in?
Should be in there.
Okay, it's on. Okay, so now take this here.
So now we know we got a good known cable here.
Nope.
a look.
I wonder why.
Oh, no clue.
All right.
Things hit and miss.
I'm just gonna leave.
What's your favorite?
Okay. I'm just gonna let the whatchamacallit, the drive, USB drive run, so people can see stuff.
Okay.
And while we open up another set, I
Okay.
gotta go get my car. You know, I'm probably best off getting my car. Let me go do that. You can finish up the web. Is there
Okay.
anything else on the webcast that we need to do?
Anything else? Any differences with IMAX Enhance? Any words with IMAX Enhance?
You know, we should have asked Dwayne if he activated his Bravia Core. That has a lot of IMAX enhanced content on it.
Yep. I haven't heard him say anything, so I don't think he did yet.
And I think the new IMAX enhanced has a flag that puts it into that mode. Like the filmmaker mode has a flag.
Let me take a look at that. We'll do that right now.
And that's it for questions?
Fomo wants to know if that is his TV you're calibrating.
Yeah. I mean, it can be. I mean, we have to let it. It has to cook first.
We need some hours on it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at. So it looks like an IMAX Enhanced. It's got the advanced contrast enhanced to the medium,
Right.
peak luminance to medium.
The mic on?
Your mic's not on.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like with the IMAX Enhanced, it's got the
These are extra settings.
yeah. So it's got the advanced contrast enhancer on medium. That's the only thing I see different so far. Hang on. It's got everything looks the same. Oh, it's got no. It's everything looks good. Nope. So I don't know. It looks like it's just got one the advanced contrast controller on. That's it. Let me just.
And that is on special promotion for $19.99.
So were there any other Panasonics or better TVs than LG that you had?
Was there a max nit number for the accurate picture mode?
765?
Yeah, it was calibrated.
780?
Yeah, I'd say 780.
780 nits at a 10% window
Yep.
after calibration.
Yep.
Model A88.
Okay.
55 inch.
Okay.
And then there is a brand new model.
Okay.
That is, we don't have, we have a 55, but the 55 is coming out probably next week.
Next week? Yeah. Okay, but also by Sony.
Yes.
They do get a little brighter as they break in, though.
Or any here Sony TVs that you have?
Well, there's a TV wall. That's
The one on the
yeah,
wall?
that's 77 inch.
That's 77.
Also available in 55 and 65.
It is. And that's a Sony, isn't it?
Wow, just looking at that again. Look at the detail on that set.
I know. I know.
Let's look at this one more time. Watch this, Robert.
Yeah.
Look at the detail there on that. Look at that.
Yeah, yeah. That's beautiful gradation there.
So
So we're
that's a,
seeing something that looks very close to the Panasonic Hollywood panels.
yeah. Looks just as uniform, except for that little vignetting on the side. You
Yeah,
know?
that was nice to see. Right. And no tinting, which was nice.
Yeah, that was really good.
And ABL is not kicking in.
Right, but again, we're below the ABL level anyway, you know. But even with HDR, it's not.
Yeah.
If it's doing anything, I don't see it.
Right.
But you know what the biggest? Look at the specular highlights. The specular highlights are unbelievable.
Right. Well, Sony's known for that.
Yeah, but this is really good.
Yeah.
I don't even need a reference to check that out.
That's right. It's beautiful. It's just so natural looking.
Look at that.
Yeah, I know. That's really cool. That's so cool. So real looking.
Right? It's that to me. Look at that. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that picture processing is unbelievable.
Shane, you got to get one of these.
All right, so I have it on play all. I'm going to go and move my car.
Okay, very
So I don't
good.
get a ticket. And then we'll open up another set and we'll see if there's any
Very
difference.
good. Excellent.
All right. Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions?
So unless you got anything you want to wrap up and say.
Do I want to wrap up anything? I think that's it.
Final thoughts? Final thoughts?
With my personal final thoughts, and I think Dwayne D. Nice also had the same pretty much opinion, is set's a winner. I mean, it's definitely got some enhanced picture processing that we haven't seen before. The near black details are better. Nothing's ever perfect, but they're really good. I haven't seen anything jump out at me that looks wrong. And the specular highlights is something that we've never seen before either.
Yeah.
They're really good. And even in SDR, right? We're seeing really good, and HDR and Dolby Vision. It's just really spectacular. So I think overall it calibrates nicely. Not as good as the Panasonic, but it's pretty damn close. And again, we're talking about minutia. It's stuff you can't see anyway.
Yeah.
It's way below delta E of 3. But we're not putting up another panel. The actual other panel is just pretty much the same. We know we got some,
Very
at least
good.
preliminary. Take one of these home tonight. Put one of these on display, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
You bet.
Best Sony's made so far?
I think so.
Yes. I think that's easy to say.
I think it's easy to say. I mean, it's like super bright.
Yeah.
So what it was 1300.
It was I got on Vivid. It was like 1290 to 1300. I think I measured up to 1320 or 1340.
Yeah.
It moves around because when it gets up that high, it's not stable.
Yeah.
And it was 7080 calibrated, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
So
So
Up.
worth the upgrade over last year's 8.8?
A8H, yeah. So it's an upgrade, definitely. I mean, it's brighter. I mean, it's the specular highlights. There's just many things that are different. It's
The
close.
Processing is cleaner.
Yeah. It's it's not that the A8H is no good. It's a good set. Is this to me? This is a little bit. It's like an upgrade, in a couple of different ways. Brightness isn't everything, but the specular highlights are crazy. It's the picture processing, which is really good. And again, we saw a whole bunch of A8Hs, and we saw a lot of panels that were like, not bad, but they weren't perfect like this one was,
This
right?
one's very clean.
We just pulled it right out of the box. So I think it's a winner in my mind, and I'm pretty pleased. It would have been nice if we would have had 900 nits, right?
Yes.
But you don't know. The one thing you don't know is the specular highlights may be 900
Right.
or 1,000, right? We don't know, right? You can't measure that. Or it's difficult, really, to measure that properly. And again, the other thing I noticed, too, and I think Dwayne and I talked about this, is that when you put up a static test pattern, even if it's tiny, the set interprets it differently
Yes.
than a specular highlight that its processing says, this is a specular highlight,
That's right.
make this super bright, right? You can't make the set do that, right? So with a test pattern.
But even though it doesn't measure a whole lot brighter, it appears to look much brighter.
Yeah, even in the accurate mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that right away the minute we
Yeah.
turned it on.
Yeah.
All right, anything else, Shane?
That's all we got right now.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thanks. We didn't do, like I said, we didn't do any real gaming stuff, so we're not going to be playing with that. So there's a gaming thread, I think, on AVS for that.
Yes, there
Because
is.
people are going to have to use it with different consoles and
Yeah.
different games to see what's really going on. It's very tough to do a quick, scan on that and say this is good or bad. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's going to work really well. And we didn't see any dead pixels, so that's good too. So, and we didn't even do any clear screen on this.
No,
Nothing, right?
Nothing. Right out of the box. Yeah.
So normally with these Sonys, you have to do one clear screen because it's frightening when you see them from the factory.
Yeah.
Right?
Good uniformity across the board.
Yes.
Yeah, uniformity definitely better.
Yeah.
Now again, you can't tell unless you look at a whole bunch of sets whether I got to get going. Whether they're all good, but
Yeah.
looks good to me.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, John.
Yeah, right.
Good job, man. Okay, very good.
Why don't you close it up, Robert?
Just be
Okay,
careful over here on that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
There, right?
Still like that? Yeah, you might.
Just gonna put my phone on the corner on the spot.
I think that wraps it up, guys. I'll let Robert send this off.
Very good. Thank you all very much for tuning in and for all those future visitors that'll be viewing. We had a lot of fun here today. This is one of the bigger upgrade years. So every year we get incremental upgrades. And the leap in technology this year is more like a bullfrog on steroids than it's been in previous years. So this is a real winner, and there's lots of upgrade improvements, both in gradation, tonal quality, the dynamic tonal range, the peak lumens capability, the near black detail, the processing overall. You can see each gradation step of luminance level very clearly. This is a very, very nice big upgrade year. No, I don't think it's important if you own an A8H or a CX or a C9 to jump into this, unless you're a very serious enthusiast. But if you're looking to buy a new TV, this is probably one of, if not the best choices for 2021. And we'll be looking forward to testing C1s and G1s and A80s and Z9Js and all the rest of the new TVs, the 95J, the 90J. We'll be announcing on March 20th a lot of the pricing and availability on all the other sizes and models. So stay tuned for that. And thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Give me a call or send me an email if you have any questions.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking out the stream. Thanks for hanging out with us for almost 3 hours. See you in the next video.
Has that been 3 hours?